setting that intention into motion is having what I call unshakable faith. Unshakable faith. Now, faith is a little different from belief. You got to make this distinction here. Belief, for me, is really an intellectual exercise. Because I can choose to believe something, and I can choose not to believe something. I've changed my belief many times. There are many things I'm not sure that I do believe or don't believe. But belief is an intellectual exercise. Faith, however, is when that belief becomes so embedded in the very fiber of who you are that it becomes your default way of being. It becomes your default way of being. My default way of being is that this universe is abundant and I will be provided for. I have absolutely no doubts about that whatsoever. Whatsoever. You look at the balance in my bank account, you might say, dude, what's up with that? But it doesn't matter. That's just a momentary snapshot of a factual event. And in spite of that, I have never not had my needs provided for. And it's really cool when someone shows up in my life to supply a need right at the moment that I realized that I needed it, or that I had it. That kind of synchronicity, I believe, is based on my unshakable faith that the universe is an abundant place I will be provided for. And because I live that in the very fiber of my being, I don't even have to think about it. The universe started, the wheels, the cogs turning, and things started showing up further down the page of music before I even got there. It already existed. The composition was written. Unshakable faith. That's step one. Step two of intention is to declare it. Now, when we declare an intention, let's be clear that we don't declare a desire for a thing. We declare a statement of who we want to be. So, for example, anything that I've ever wanted in my life, physical thing, has been a representation of some greater need that I've had. To give you an example, when I got out of college, I kind of got out of college and got into Unity all about the same time. My wife introduced me to Unity in 1997. While some of us might come to Unity for some, to meet bigger and deeper needs, I got into Unity simply to try and date a girl. I know, you're thinking less and less of me in the stall. I met her. I was at a time where I was disillusioned with religion and spirituality, and she said, why don't you come to church with me? She could have said, let's go jump in a pit of tar together. I'd have been that was all I took. But there I was. And one of the first experiences was a 4T class. Anyone familiar with the 4T program? And we were asked to choose something to manifest. And for me, it was a car. And we have to give details. So for me, at that time, it was a 1997 silver gray Honda Prelude. For whatever reason, that was the car of my dreams back then. So we set in the motion of trying to do the thing, you're getting your small groups, people are praying with you, you're holding the intention, and we're going. And remember, I started with saying I'm a bit of a cynic, right? So I was kind of like, we'll see how this works, whatever, kind of deal. One day I'm driving to work. You know where their story's going to end. One day I'm driving to work, and there's massive construction on this road that I always think I have to detour through some neighborhood. And 2 blocks into this neighborhood, what do you think I saw on the lawn of someone's house with the for sale sign? The very same car. The Honda Silver Prelude with the for sale sign on it. I won't tell you what came out of my mouth. It's not appropriate for church people. And I didn't buy the car either. I didn't buy the car. Here's why. Because in that moment, when I realized that this works, I realized I'm not going to settle for a car. But not from a material point of what else I can get. In that moment, it hit me the bigger implications of setting an intention, the bigger implications of creating our experience that go beyond material needs. It hit me like a brick wall, and it took me about 3 years to recover from that moment. 3 years of what does this mean for me? What does this mean that I am to do? What does it mean for the life that has shown up so far? It was a powerful teaching that took me, like I said, 3 years to really wrap my mind around and come to a place of, now I get to do this consciously. I get to do it consciously. And it starts from declaring again, not what I want, but who I am. I am peace. I am love. I am the very abundance. It took me a while, but I realized the very things that I was seeking, those very deeper needs, the car that would always start, because I drove a car in college that didn't always start. The need to have a car that always start was really just a deep need for security, knowing that I can get from point A to point B. When I was dating my wife and pursuing her recklessly, what was that about? It was a need for a deep need for love. When we have basic needs, love, we have a need for compassion, we have a need for safety. There's some basic human needs that we have, and also basic spiritual needs. And the more I study, the more I realize these things are not going to be provided by anyone else but myself. No one else but myself. Because I did get a car that always started. In the back of my mind, I was still worried it might break down. I did find the love of my life, and we were married. And as anyone's been married for any period of time, they can tell you, it ain't peaceful every day. It's just not. But beyond that, there is that deeper sense of connection. There's that deeper sense of love. And if we need to rely on some other person to make us feel the peace and the love, we're always going to be disappointed. We got to be it first. We got to be the peace and the love that we're seeking in order to connect with someone as well. So what are you, Claire, you are going to be? Who are you? Are you peace? Are you love? Are you abundance? Are you fulfillment? Are you grace? Are you what are you? That's what you get to answer. And that's your declaration. Don't worry about the details of how that plays itself out. The universe starts turning and provides these things for you. My first profession was in music therapy. It's basically the idea of using music to help meet the needs of those who may be disabled, who may be have developmental cognitive disabilities, physical disabilities. When I decided I wanted to be a music therapist, I didn't know music therapy existed. It was at the end of high school. And I didn't know it then either, but I had set an intention because when I wondered what I wanted to do with my life, I clearly remember saying, you know what, I want to use my music in some way, but not just to be a rock star, although that would be nice. I don't want to just use it that way. I want to help people. I want to use my music to help people. I want to use my music to help people. I don't know how that would look, but yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to use my music to help people. within a month, I found out about music therapy. I set the intention of who I was, a person of service. I am service. And the universe provided an answer for me. So you start with unshakable faith, the declaration of who you are. And finally, the third step in this prosperity intention is to give. To give. I don't care what you give something. Give money, give time, give your talents, give your treasures, give yourself. You have to give. Give beyond all rational reason. Not to the point where you deplete yourself, of course, but give. Why? Because, like that saying goes, nature abhors the vacuum. And when you give, you've just created room for the universe to flow in with some more. When you give, you start that cycle of flow. And when you give from a place of consciousness, when you give from a place of intention, when you give from a place of unshakable faith, declaring who you are, that's what's going to be supplied back to you as you give. Got to give. And the more you give, the more you will receive. Now we hear that and we think, well, if I give money, I will get money. If I give time, I will get time. It's not that simple an equation. It's not that simple an equation. But when you give of what you have, the universe will supply you with what you need. And not what you need in the material sense, what you need in that sense of declaring who you are. So you declare, I'm the peace. So how find ways to step in and be the peace. Find ways to step in and be a catalyst for change. Find ways to step in and just be. And the universe will support you. This is a tried, true, and tested formula. Not just by me. Not just by me. By hundreds, thousands of others. Going as far back in time as you can think. Unshakable faith, declaring who you are, not what you want, who you are, and give. Last week I shared a little bit about J.K. Rowling's story, and I'm going to end with a quote from her. She said, "I stopped pretending to myself that I was anything than what I was, and began to direct all my energy to finishing the only work that mattered to me. Had I succeeded at anything else, I may have never found the determination to succeed in the one area where I truly belong. I was set free because my greatest fear had been realized, and I was still alive. And I had a daughter whom I loved. I had an old typewriter and a big idea. I was set free." So my invitation to you this week is to invite freedom into your life. To step into this prosperity intention of not just doing, but of being. Be the intention. And let the universe do the rest. Namaste.